What's going on? Oh man, it's raining today. It's kind of cold outside and whatnot. Windows all up and everything. You know, trying to get some stuff done today. But what do you people think of the different types of people that you encounter on a day-to-day basis? You know, anywhere you could be. You know, the store, the laundromat, the bank. What do you think of those different types of people? You know, some of you guys are humdrum people, and you know, you just go about life and you don't reflect. You just go about life. You're like a leaf in the wind blowing along. You know, but there's some of us who really put deep thought into analyzing other folks. Not for the purpose of because we like other people, but just more so because we just want to understand folks. It's almost like, you know, preventive medicine. You know, if I know enough about you, then I can stay away from you and prevent myself from dealing with whatever baggage you come with. The different types of people. You know, I had a serviceman come to my home a couple of weeks ago, and he did some work on my air unit. You know, he did a pretty good job and everything. And the problem I had with this guy was, after everything was all said and done, and I was signing the invoice so I can pay him for the, you know, the bill and whatever, he wanted to set my controls on what he thought I should have them on. When I told him that, you know, I'm not necessarily at home, you know, most of the time, and you know, and so I wanted to set it on what I thought would be appropriate for me, so I would have a decent bill, and it wouldn't, you know, it would manage the bill. And just little things like that. I know myself, I live here. He was intent on telling me that, you know, because I'm not home all the time, then, you know, I might as well do this or that. And, you know, the point is, if I'm writing you a check, it doesn't matter how much money I'm spending. I get to decide what I want to do if I'm paying you for a service. And that's all I want you to do. So we shouldn't have to wrestle about that. But your inability to think about and have consideration for how I felt is the reason why you were being boneheaded. So that's the word I'm going to use today to describe these different types of people. Boneheads. They're boneheaded. They're not necessarily mean or callous people. They're just not thinkers. They don't think about other people. They're very self-centered. And therefore, they're not able to consider your feelings. You know? The boneheads. The lady in the bank, you know, who you know, obviously it's customer service to ask you, you know, why you're there, if you need to do this or do that, because maybe they can expedite your service, get you the right forms or whatever. But there's a fine line between being pushy and showing good customer service. So, you know, you're another person who ruins days for people, you know, and it may just be for that moment. It may not last, but just the stress or duress of what you're putting on someone else is what you don't consider, and is why you're a bonehead. Or how about that guy the past week when I was putting air in the tire, when I was waiting at the air pump, and there were about 2 other folks at this air pump waiting. And, you know, because I really needed to put air in my tires because, you know, my warning light came on or whatever, the sensor, I had to put air in the tires. So I waited. I patiently waited for the other 2 people to go. And then it was my time to go. This guy just pulls up and jumps out of the car, pants hanging off his ass, drawers showing. And, you know, he started pumping his tires up, right? Didn't look up at me, didn't see me pulling into the space or anything. Just pulled in and just started doing that. And you know, a lot of the stuff that happens in the street, because remember, I have a higher intelligence level. I'm not going to fight you over a fucking air pump. Like, that would be ridiculous. Like, seriously. But just imagine if I were on the same level that guy was on. And it was about my space and you know, whatever. So I would have been willing to engage in conflict with this guy. And this is how a lot of the things that happen in the street happen. You know, we don't have to have all of the details about what goes on in the street that occurs that makes people shoot each other or do things or stab or harm each other. We don't have to know the details. We just know that two people were in a negative space and they weren't grounded. I say that a lot. You know, the different people that I encounter for different reasons. You know, when I go up to people, I'm almost, you know, I'm cordial to them, but I'm always expecting them to do exactly what they always do. You know, the people in the barbershop who seem to just never know what's going on, but they always have so much to say and have an opinion about everything, but they just don't know what's going on. And they'll tell you things that are not necessarily true, and maybe they heard them secondhand, or maybe in some cases third or fourth hand. They heard them from 4 different people, before it got to them. And so the information was just, you know, completely diluted, and they didn't get the right type of information. So this is what happens a lot, people. You know, people have a misunderstanding of one another because they don't take the time to listen and try to understand another person. And it comes down to that. And a lot of conflicts can be resolved on global levels, and just on any level. Because it comes down to human nature and people. Humans are the problem. Humans are the ones who create dissension amongst other humans. You know, someone asked me the other day about my position on humanity and why I don't like people, and why I tend to be very, you know, they said I'm not too optimistic about things. And I'm very pessimistic because, like I said, I've studied this enough. I've watched people on a day-to-day basis. I have to do things, so I have to deal with a lot of different types of people, many different types of people in a day. And most of those people, if I don't make some type of effort to balance out the negative energy, then we could go into any direction with that negativity. And this happens every day. I look at the news. I'm troubled by the reports. I see everything that occurs in a day in this world. It's just ridiculous. You know, I don't understand it. You know, when I used a term and well, actually a phrase, and you know, it was funny. It came to me when I was trying to describe these types of boneheads. You know, the character traits of shirtless Americans. Because I'm in America, so, you know, I wouldn't know what they do in Italy or some other country. I don't know what they do there. I'm not there. But the character traits of shirtless Americans, the boneheaded behaviors, the irrational thinking, the illogical structuring of thoughts, I'm troubled with that greatly. And I don't think enough of you people put enough time into trying to really understand yourselves and where you are erring when you're dealing with other people. It's really as simple as that. You know, it's like a formula. And some of you guys just don't have this formula. You're just not thinking right. I don't understand that. I just want to take a few moments to just talk to you guys. You know, and it's not the best. Like I said, I'm on vacation and I'm doing a few things. So you know, you know, it's funny to me. These shirtless Americans, these boneheaded people. You know, what are we going to do about you guys? Right? I love bad behavior, folks. I do. It's funny. Till next time, take care.